All right, here we go. This is season 2, episode 2.
Season 2, episode 2.
Somebody asked me earlier, sent me a message, asked me why we need seasons.
Yeah.
And
I was wondering the same thing. I didn't know you were...
Because it's our podcast and we do whatever the hell we want.
Whatever we want.
Whatever we want.
New microphones.
Yeah, new microphones. And so we are ready to have more adventures of Tremendous Fat Ass, Set to the Office, season 2, episode 2. As you can see, Danny, I'm wearing my Green Bay shirt and my Green Bay Packers Zubas.
Dude, the pants are awesome.
Yeah. Well, they're not playing today. You probably don't know this, but
Joel walked down the stairs in front of me. I was behind him.
I felt your stare.
I was picturing that video we made with Handy.
Right.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was a good one.
I made a music video at school when we were at the other building. I was teaching a class on movie making, but we had it all edited, and it was that song, I'm Sexy and I Know It.
Oh, yes.
I'm sexy and
Handy
I know it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Budding star.
So, anyway, you walking down the stairs in front of me in those pants, boom, took me right back.
Well, it's the playoffs, man, and Green Bay's got a bye week. They play next week. I'm tracking the game on my phone right now. It's New England versus Tennessee, and I can speak for 95%. Beck, what do you think? 95% of the population of the United States in that I'm rooting for New England to lose, and they are down. Yes.
Question.
Yeah.
What does tracking them mean in this
I'm
context?
on ESPN. I'm checking ESPN. They're playing, and I just checked the
Oh,
score.
they're currently playing.
Yeah, and they update it every play. So I'm hoping New England loses. I just watched a special on Bill Belichick. I have a lot of respect for the coach of New England, but I'm sick of them. And so if they would lose at home to Tennessee, that would be pretty good. But I know you don't give a shit about football. You don't.
What?
You don't really follow it. You don't know much about it. It's okay. But that's why I'm wearing the Zubas, because it's, next week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You rock those things. That's
I do.
I'm saying.
I do. Yep.
Do you wear them to Ivy?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
I
That's
don't know.
awesome.
I actually haven't worn these in a while, but it might be the year.
I saw someone shared something. It was like one of those pictures with a caption on it, and it says it was like the guy closest at the closest gas station to you knows you like no one else or something, because he's seen you at your worst.
Oh,
you're
right,
walking in there in your
yeah.
slippers. And
Well, that's
anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of, if you want a timeless picture, Beck,
Yeah.
put that up on the board. Is it up? Dan,
Wow.
I want you to behold that sight from 32 years ago.
Now,
My
is the
senior picture.
color?
I know you have
they can
questions.
bring black and whites back with color, but did you mean to make it pink when you brought that back from black and white?
Not only am I wearing a pink sweater, Dan, I'm wearing a pink button down under the sweater.
That's pink too.
It's pink.
I don't know.
I want you to note I have one chin.
Yeah.
I kind of have a skinny neck. I think I just. No, I definitely have. Well,
No, he's got one neck. What are you talking about?
look at my hairline as well. My hairline, I look like a chia pet. I have thick. I've lost some in the front, but I'm still doing okay for a 50-year-old compared to some.
Yep.
But I know you'll be surprised when I tell you this, Dan. I had a shitload of these wallet-sized pictures left over after graduation. I don't know why. I just had so many of them.
If the right guy in Hollywood would have got a hold of that picture, you would have been cast as the bully dick in so many movies. I mean, even with the pink sweater on, you look like you're just. That's why you wore it. Say something. You just look like a mean bully.
I kind of did, but
Yeah.
nobody was going to say anything.
I know that look. I've been doing this a long time.
But
you would have been a Harbor student, and you would have tried me.
I might have, but
Yep.
I did try some teachers back
I know
then.
you did.
But I was mostly affable, and I still am.
Yes, you are. Very
uh,
affable.
But yeah, nobody. Okay, maybe a few people would have said something about the pink sweater
To you.
to me, but
Yeah.
behind my back maybe, and I wouldn't have heard them.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite as deaf back then.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
You rocked it.
Yeah,
you
I
rocked
did.
it then.
I did.
You rock it now.
Yep. And but by the way, somebody pointed out on Facebook, those are not acid wash jeans. They're just plain old light blue jeans. But the texture of the picture makes them look like. I only wish I had acid wash jeans back then. Do you remember those acid wash jeans?
I think so. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You were. You probably.
I
You were
probably
kind of one of those yee guys back.
kind
in
of a
school, weren't you?
wrangler. I
Yeah,
like
you're
the
wearing
Wranglers.
the Wranglers and the boots.
Still
and
do sometimes,
with a little,
you know.
with a little cow
Nothing
shit
like
on the bottom.
wearing a pair of Wranglers, you know. Tight fitting Wranglers.
Oh, yeah, that was back when Southeast Polk was really rural.
Yep.
Rural. So anyway, all right, enough of that picture, Beck. You can take it off the
Yes,
screen.
take it off.
I think we've seen way too much. So, yeah, put us. No, not yet, not yet.
What the hell was that?
All right, are we gonna do that now? I think we're gonna have to.
Seriously, I don't like watching weird stuff. It'll make
Okay.
me puke.
All right, well let's hold off on that one. Let's put.
What
us
is
on.
going on in that?
I know.
He's
we'll
lighting
play.
a fart.
We'll play it in just a second. Now, just chill out.
You know,
Is that gonna make you puke?
it's pretty gross.
All right, well, let's first I need just had the holidays.
Yeah.
Survived. Barely.
Yeah.
Actually, we had I would say a pretty good holiday season. We hosted 2 dinners. Had New Year's over at a friend's house, the Butcher's house. Daryl Butcher and Amy Butcher put on a pretty fun evening of games and such. So it's always it can be a rough time for some people. I know the holidays, like sandwiched in between Christmas and New Year's, is the anniversary of my brother passing away 16 years ago. And so that's always kind of a cloud over the holidays for our family, particularly, my mother. But it's been 16 years, and those kinds of things, they still stay with you, but they kind of fade a little bit, especially after that long. When I think about John, and a lot of people that listen to the podcast knew John, one of the funniest people I've ever known. But his sense of humor is not for everybody, Dan. It was not for everybody. You would have liked it probably. So that's kind of there, right in the middle. And I know a lot of people kind of suffer a little bit through the holidays, and
I know of a suicide we had in a distant part of my family. I don't know any of the details about it, but I just know that, Christmas and the holidays aren't necessarily a happy time for everyone. And
Right.
I'm not saying that was the case there. I know nothing about it, but when you struggle with things, and then all of a sudden there's all these happy people around you, and you're supposed to be happy, and
Right.
it's just all it does is just force you to look at.
right.
I don't know.
There's a
but-
lot of pressure on people during the holidays, and it's particularly, Christmas is meant for kids,
Yeah.
but it puts a lot of pressure on the adults, and it's not always a happy time for people.
Well, yeah, and I know there's a lot of people that make New Year's resolutions this time of year.
You're not supposed to talk about them, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but when you make a New Year's resolution, you're supposed to keep it. You're supposed to keep it secret. You're not supposed to say it out loud, otherwise it won't work. That's according to our president. He said
Yeah.
that. So whatever resolution that you're going to talk about,
I think sometimes his lips just talk. I don't know.
he
It's
said,
like in
yeah.
Princess Bride when there's like, I don't think that word means what you think it
Right,
means. Like
right.
that is just,
Right.
if you beeped it every time you could when he's, anyway, we're not going to get political.
No, this is a nonpartisan
I
podcast.
honestly didn't know anything about that until you told me.
Yeah, I
earlier.
know. I follow the news too much, and when you're talking about resolutions, I've made a few. I wouldn't say they're hardcore resolutions, but they're more of things I'm going to really focus on. And one of them is I'm not going to follow the news as closely as I have, because I
Really?
think that affects my mood.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to try to disconnect from some of that a little bit. I listened to a podcast today that kind of talked about that, about how, people who stay up on the news sometimes aren't as happy.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So I'm gonna.
It's tricky. You know, where's that line between putting your head in the sand
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, the ostrich
and being
effect.
too obsessed
Right.
in it too, you
Right.
know.
Right.
There's only so much in our circle of control, and I think that's what.
Right.
But that actually is a good segue into like, if you're looking for a New Year's resolution that you know, I'm giving a shout out to jujitsu, but
Okay.
more than anything is like would be to find your jujitsu, and that might look like something else. You know, it might be a different martial art or yoga or something, but I think
Eating?
there's, huh?
Eating.
Yeah, eating. I mean, I told you January 10th is coming up. I'm kind of dialing in on what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
But anyway, last night at the gym was open mat, and I've been working on this new move I'm trying to kind of create. But I was rolling with the guy. I had a panic attack last night.
Okay.
So we rolled, and I was so focused on
excuse me.
getting into this position, and you know, I've struggled with panic attacks for a long time.
Sure.
You know, they got much worse after we lost Gabriel. And I know not everybody may know about what I mean there because, you know, Gabriel was our baby that we lost, and we found out that if he was born alive, it was going to be for a very short time. Like
Okay.
what he had, a baby that has had it, the longest a baby that has had that here in Iowa lived 2 years.
Okay.
And nationwide, I mean, it's just, you know, and so it just, that's when, it was a bad time.
Right.
So, but anyway, my point is I've taken medicine for it. You know, it's something I'm familiar with.
Sure.
That's why last night it came on, and this started ever since I've come back to jiu-jitsu around Gabriel. I started having him at the gym when I would be rolling, but I almost kind of associated them as two separate things. I just kind of more associated the jiu-jitsu thing with I just need to get in better cardio shape, you know.
Okay.
But what I found out was I was holding my breath. Like I would, when I'm doing the jiu-jitsu, when I'm, before I was doing it all the time, like, you know, that.
Right.
And then I got to the point where I could really be aware of my breathing if I didn't attack, if I'm just playing defense, you know.
Okay.
And now I'm getting better at it. But if what happens is you get to the point where your body is screaming for oxygen and suddenly you are holding your breath. And part of my issue is I can hold my breath a long time,
Right.
just in general. So I don't even know. But all of a sudden I'll know, like my brain, something switches and it's like, your veins don't have enough oxygen coming in. There is not enough coming in for what, and it sends out like a panic chemical in me.
Sure.
I can feel it, and it's just this burnout feeling, and you cannot breathe hard enough, and that's what a panic attack
Right,
feels like.
right.
But in that context, it's always been like, okay, you know, this is just
Right.
me needing to roll more. Well, now I know that they're associated.
Sure.
And it's really, now that it's clicked, because last night I knew that all I had to do was turn that off in my brain, like,
Right.
okay. And then it was just a matter of letting myself relax. And then it wasn't the, you know.
Like a full blown.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it took 30 seconds, between 30 seconds and a minute.
Okay.
And that's pretty good for
Right.
me.
Right.
But it really relates in a lot of ways, making that connection. You do that stuff in jiu-jitsu. I brought in a prop.
I thought that was a man purse at first.
Oh,
the way you were
yeah.
carrying it.
I come in with this, all right?
It was dark, to be fair, but you didn't do
should-
that with it. You were
If
holding
you know
it.
what this is.
Show how you were holding it. You were holding it like that.
No, I was not. I did not walk in
Yeah,
like
you did.
this.
You did.
Look at your wrist.
I know.
I walked in, I go, I had it like this. Not that it would even matter. I
Yeah,
don't
it's totally
carry
fine
things-
that you
I
carried
don't
it that
carry
way.
things like that.
You don't. Okay.
You
All right.
know?
It might have been me. It
So
might have been my mistake. Okay, go
I
ahead.
said I brought a prop, and Joel's like, "Oh, a man person." Wasn't joking. Like you assumed.
Yeah, it was dark. I didn't know what it was.
So if you know what this is before I say it, then you have to email Joel because I'd be curious to know if any of our listeners know. But it's called a snatch block pulley. Oops, sorry.
Becky may have to
and-
edit this part out. I don't know.
No.
I don't know where he's going with this.
Any pulley adds mechanical advantage
Sure.
to. All right, so there I'm talking in jiu-jitsu. There is simple machines everywhere. You know, leverage is everything.
Right.
But this, the benefit is because it opens up, the cable, the force doesn't have to go through it, so it can be connected to something else. Okay, and it's especially advantageous when you need to alter the direction of that force, particularly if your anchor is off center. And so I don't know how to put it in words, but that is related to what I did last night with that panic attack.
Okay.
You know, understanding what that force is and diverting it away.
Right.
You know, you can't, you cannot turn something off. I've figured that out.
Yeah, right,
You know,
you
you
can't.
can't put something in a box
Right.
and just because it sits there and
Yeah,
it's
you
like
tried to do that for a long time, Dan.
chemical, like,
Yeah.
you know,
It
a
just stays right there.
Chernobyl stuff.
Yeah, it just stays right there.
But a monk actually explained it pretty well in one of something I was watching. You know, you see it come in and you're aware of it, and you almost have a relationship with it. But then it's like you control it,
Okay.
and I don't know. I just wonder what our society would be like, and part of my resolution is to just put it out there. You know,
Put what out there? What do you mean?
like what I really am thinking, not in a bad way, but
Okay.
try to do it in a good way.
Right, right.
You know, like a guy saw me at the gym last Wednesday, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. I said hi, and he had this weird look on his face. And then I realized, and I'm like, what? And he was waiting for me to say something because he'd been gone for like a month,
Oh,
you know.
right.
And I go, no, I wasn't going to say anything. I'm just happy to see you. And he goes, well, I could tell you, and I go, I know you good enough that I know that whatever reason
Right.
it was probably because you put family first.
Sure.
I'm just happy to see you because I love you. And I could say that with him because I'm not saying I'm going to just say that to everybody, but I think if that we need more of that.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what it would be like if everybody in our society shared what was really they struggle with, as open as we do other things.
Right, right.
And talked about different things we do when it happens,
Right.
and shared strategies.
Sure.
And
We do the
maybe-
opposite of that.
I know.
We do that, and social media doesn't help. Social media doesn't help,
It's
and and I
supposed
showed
to.
this.
How
I-
does it not help? You're supposed to. You
Well,
see people
no.
on
See,
there
I showed that
crying
picture
and-
from Facebook, from my high school senior picture. But I'm a big Facebook guy. I post probably at least a couple times a day, sometimes more. But Facebook, and it's just an example of social media, doesn't make people feel better. It makes people feel worse because people present their best things on Facebook, and they're not. And then what happens when somebody is real on Facebook and they talk about something that's devastating to them? It's like, oh, Jesus, look at this drama. I don't know if I want to get, I think we do the opposite of that. I mean, I think you're going to surprise some people if you're real.
Yeah. Well, and nothing will make you feel like more of I don't like using the word, but a pussy
Right.
than having panic attacks.
No, yeah.
You want to go hide.
Yep.
You feel like you are going to die.
Yeah.
And It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. About a
And then I think that's a lot of why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
You know how I can get,
yeah.
because it's wanting to be
Right.
the opposite of that.
Right.
But that society thing feeds into it.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got to hold stuff in, it's just going to build up
Right.
and build up.
About the time when I was resigning from my job, for my career, I go for walks a lot. You know, people see me around town walking, and I remember I was walking down Hickory near the Hy-Vee, walking north, and I started to have a panic attack, and it's wide open. There's cars driving by. There's that wide open field by Hy-Vee, and I remember. Speaking of feeling like a pussy, I crossed the street to Hy-Vee Gas, and you know that sign, that neon sign that announces certain things right there on the corner.
Yeah.
There's a big bush there, and I hid in that bush. I went into that bush and I hid while this panic attack was going on because I was so embarrassed. Because when people that have had panic attacks know, you feel like you're having a heart attack. You can't breathe. For me, sometimes tears stream down my face. Can't stop it. You talked about what you do to try to combat those things. And, there's things that you could do, the look at 5 things around you that are real, touch 4 things and all that stuff. But, whatever works for you to kind of get you out of that moment. But you can't, the panic attack's going to win when it's ready. I mean, when you're ready to have it, it's going to win. And it's been a few weeks since I've had one. I've had them at work. I've had them in my office.
Yeah.
I remember Kelly Brinker, our secretary, having to make sure the hallway was clear so I could, because I was embarrassed, so I could go down the hallway and get in my car and leave. And a lot of those were, when my tinnitus is really bad, for days like it was last week, a lot better today. Tinnitus gets worse, anxiety goes up, and then
Yeah.
so yeah,
definitely
and then
connected.
you couple that with, and I think you're this way too. I'm a ruminator.
Yeah.
Now, the word ruminate is derived from how a cow eats. A cow eats and then pukes up what it eats and eats it some more, chews it some more, then swallows it and then pukes it up. And that's what rumination is. You take these memories that you have, these decisions of regret, of inaction, and you bring them up at the worst possible time. And
Play
you
through
think
'em in
about
your
them
head.
over and over and over. And you can't do anything about them because it's over with. So, well, what do? You actively try to think of something else. Okay, that's one way, to do it. But, that's where people with anxiety, that's, the rumination is the driving force oftentimes for the panic attacks.
Well, I can tell you there's an incredible connection between the way we breathe and our brain.
Yeah.
And if you can ever, when you feel it come on, try to make yourself pay attention to your breathing. That's how I'm staying ahead of
Right.
everything these days. When I feel something come on, I'm trying to divert that force, and then I will instantly and it's a jujitsu thing. I mean, there's a way the Gracies breathed, like people would talk about it,
Right.
They were like aliens when they came here, and guys that would roll with them, they would breathe weird, and they'd make weird noises, like, and they'd go, and they were just constantly
I'm going to
keeping...
trust that you're making noises there, but I didn't hear any.
Okay,
It's like a like
You don't have to do it again. I believe you.
but what they're doing is waving it in, big belly breaths,
Yeah.
coming with their belly all the way up and then back down, and constantly keeping their diaphragm. And with jiu-jitsu, that just kept the oxygen
Sure.
coming in. But also what it does is there's your, and this will be weird, your main, it's called the vagus nerve. I thought it was Vega, but Sarah said it's called Vegas,
Okay.
which makes sense because it runs right down through your butthole.
Vegas sure does that, doesn't it?
And those breaths are caressing that nerve, and that's what tells your brain we're good. I'm
Right.
telling you.
Yeah.
Because when you're ruminating, watch what you're doing with your breath. You're doing that,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know.
Right.
And
Get shallow.
even if it's not enough to make you feel it physically here, it's still triggering your brain.
Sure. Right.
That's a panicky way of breathing.
Right.
That's the way people breathe.
Well,
when they're-
everybody's got a way to kind of alleviate their stress and their anxiety. And, you do jiu-jitsu. I try to walk a lot or I work out. I know that, speaking of working out, we are on our way to building Shooty's Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
Because that is that's
Looking
something that our
swole.
the Shooty boys. Well, I'm sorry, Quinn, the Shooty girl in the house, also enjoys lifting, but she would never lift in our weight room. She has to go to Anytime Fitness on her own and do her own program. But Cade is on his way. In a few days, we'll have a squat rack delivered that he's going to put together. His friend Ethan Butcher is making a platform. We have nearly 800 pounds of free weights, and it's going to be an east side gym in the garage. It's going to be a sight to behold, Dan. But that's what, some people, that's what they do for stress. And
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. I was telling you earlier, we should go over our memory of when we first started lifting weights. Because at some point in a lot of guys, probably the ladies too, there's this window of your life where you are lifting weights and it feels good. You almost look forward to going there and getting that good.
I was 13. I remember well.
Okay.
I thought I was 13, and here's what, as you probably know, because I've told you, I was painfully shy when I was younger. I'm still shy, but I've learned how to cope and use my sense of humor and all that. But I couldn't talk to anybody, and so but I was always a big kid. And when I was in junior high, when I was in 7th grade, I was already a little over 200 pounds and 5, 10, or 11. Excuse me. And I remember for my birthday or something, I got a set of those plastic weights that you fill with sand at a bar and a bench. And every night, and with the weights came a little manual, and I think it had like Joe Weider, the old weightlifting guru, because they were Weider brand weights. And it tells you, this is how you bench press, and this is how you do the military press, and you can do curls. And I did the same. I didn't know any better. I did the same program every night. I didn't change it up. I did bench press every day. Whatever
you did them all?
Whatever the book said, I did. It didn't tell me to do one on one day and one on another. And they had and I worked out. And, of course, I was lifting on my own. And, at the time, I don't remember how much weight I had, 150 pounds. And, I'd lift to exhaustion, and then I would have to do the thing where you roll the weight down, and then you sit up and you roll, because I didn't have a spotter. But that's when I first started, because I thought that would make the difference for me, man. I couldn't talk to anybody, but I was a big guy, and I thought I got to latch on to something that I was good at. And
that seems young for that kind of lifting. 13?
I was already, I'd already.
I don't know if I could have lifted
I'd
the
already
bar.
started maturing at 11,
Yeah,
so 13 was fine.
I was a little late.
You're a little late. Yeah, I understand. But, so that's when I kind of started. And what I remember in fall of ninth grade, in PE class, all the boys had to go into the little weight room around. At Lincoln High School, there's a roundhouse. It's really old. It's like 100 years old. And there's a track, and then there's little rooms, and there was a little weight room. And I remember we had to max out on the bench. And in ninth grade, I did 210 pounds. And I was, for a day, a legend. Because apparently nobody, did you hear about the ninth grader that bench pressed 210 pounds? Mm-hmm. Back then, that was big. Of course, I weighed 230 or pounds or whatever. But,
Right.
So I was a legend for a day. But that's kind of what got me,
That's
it
cool.
made me stand out. That was a way for me to stand out.
Yeah.
So, and I've kind of done it off and on, and I know the boys are into it. Cade is really into powerlifting, and
Yeah.
he's already at 18 surpassing most anything I've done and most lifts, and I'm proud of him for that because he is I mean,
He
squatting
should
500
watch,
pounds. I mean, he's unbelievable.
He
so.
should watch the documentary The Game Changers
Oh,
on
really?
Netflix, because I don't know if you're aware of this. The most powerful man in the world is vegan.
Is what?
Vegan.
No.
Yes. Science. It's a fact.
Not. I'm not going to stop eating meat, Danny.
I'm
and
not
either
telling
is
you
Cade.
to. I'm not either. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's
I
like,
like
you
meat,
picture the vegans and vegetarians. It's a stigma like that.
Oh, I know.
it's
Quinn's a
weak or
vegan.
whatever.
You know
I
that.
mean,
We hear about it.
he is this brute. Like, he's one of the dudes that chucks the kegs
Oh,
up
yeah.
over the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Well, Quinn's a vegan, but she's not. You hear stereotypes of vegans who can't even be near meat and can't even talk. Well, she's not like that. I mean, if she's at the stove and we're cooking hamburger, yeah, hey Quinn, will you stir the hamburger for us? Yeah, she'll do it. She doesn't. She's not that way.
Right.
But we had steak tonight, didn't we, Beck? Wasn't it awesome? Yeah, I grilled steaks tonight and
I
put a
wonder
lamp
if there's
outside.
a word. Not that we need more labels, but is there a label for like the vegetarian that's really more like a vegan, but not because they care about animals, just more about the health stuff?
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
know what I mean? Like, maybe like
Yeah. Quinn does care about the animals. But she's not. She's not gonna preach at you over it. I mean,
Right.
you hear about those vegans that are. She's not joining PETA anytime soon, and and if that's what you're into, hey, cool, whatever. Thought
Yeah.
I'd put that out there for
no,
our.
no judge.
Yeah,
no
I'm
judgment.
not. But she's. Quinn's probably the healthiest person I know,
Exactly.
and
I just want to be healthy.
well, I do too, and I'm not that. So, but I'm trying. But
All
anyway,
right.
so
Well, that was a lot. That was
yeah,
a big
well,
one.
let's play. I'm going to show the what time. What are we at time wise? 30 minutes. Oh, 31. Okay, play.
Perfect. So we probably don't have to watch a guy farting.
No, we want to watch that.
All right.
All right, play that video. Okay, rewind it. Rewind
Oh
it.
my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Again, so Dan can-
Oh my god.
Look, he is really forcing a fart out there. He's real.
Dude, is that real?
Well, I did some research today, and apparently it is real. I questioned it just because
pretty
I have
disgusting.
seen my share
Okay.
of farts
Shut it off.
ignited. Yeah, we've seen it. I've seen my share of farts ignited. I have never seen a flame that long.
No, that's why it almost looks like he's holding a flamethrower or something. Maybe
Well,
they
it
staged
looked like a lighter.
Let's set the cat on. No,
Yeah.
I don't see people
Dan,
actually.
don't take a shit on this from me because I love this and I want it to be
I
real.
think it's real.
I want it to be real, but you're trying to say it's not. I'm trying
No, I'm just trying.
I want it to be real because talk about panic attacks. I was laughing so hard earlier today. I could not breathe. I was
That's
crying over
good
that
though.
one.
That added some years to your life.
It did. It probably did. But I mean, here's this. I feel bad for the kid. Here he is, just lighting farts like any other red-blooded American
Oh.
boy.
Gee,
Like it's.
we just lost half of our listeners. They just said, you know what? I can't do it anymore. He feels bad for the guy
I
that
do.
just
I feel bad for the kid.
lighting his fart set the cat on
Well,
fire.
hey,
What's
hear
wrong
me,
with
hear
you?
me out. I know. I feel bad for the cat too, but I feel bad for the kid. He's an American boy, and as
I have never
his
lit
right.
my farts ever. I've never seen. None of my friends ever do.
All right. Well, I've got a story about that, but this kid, I feel bad
I
for him.
wouldn't feel bad
He has
for
a-
him if his butthole
He's
blew
just,
up.
he's just lighting a fart like he
Oh.
he has a right to do, and now he's an animal abuser, Dan. I mean, now
Well, he kind of is. He's
well,
a
but he
dick.
didn't mean to. That kid just ran across.
Doesn't matter. He's
Should've
being
been-
stupid. All right, I thought of my triple B question. My Beck being Beck.
Beck
Can
being
you
back,
put-
Triple B.
Put the sweater picture up one more time, but here's the question, okay? Now I'm gonna make this. I thought about doing a you, but I'm not gonna do you. I'm gonna your older brother. All right. As he walks around now, Cade. He locks horns with this guy right here, right? Time machine. Who wins? I mean, all out, bare knuckle. They're getting
Beck,
after
do you need
it.
some raw numbers of
No,
me from
well,
back then?
hey,
Is he wearing,
he's
is he
you.
wearing the sweater?
You don't have to worry about
Beck
anything
wants to know
right
if I'm
now.
wearing the sweater. That's a great question.
'Cause I think that'll tip it one way or the other. If you're
It will, because as Hayden Fry from the old Iowa Hawkeye, rest in peace, Hayden, he painted the locker rooms pink because psychologically that calms you down, calms your opponents down. So he painted the opponent's locker room pink. So my pink sweater, in 1988, if Cade could go back in time, that pink sweater
Is
would
Cade here?
settle him down. No, he's
Cade would grab the back of that pink sweater,
Yeah.
pull it over your head, just like a hockey player, and beat the ever-loving
well.
shit
Here's the
out
thing,
of
of
you.
course, you know,
Probably knock you out, and then come down in full mount and start
here-
raining the elbows.
Before we start jerking each other off over this, I think you need to understand a couple of things. First,
What did-
the thought of fighting my son is not a very pleasant thought. However, if 18-year-old Joel against 18-year-old Cade, who's right now, Cade has some advantages. 18-year-old Cade is stronger than 18-year-old Joel. However, the difference is 18-year-old Cade has never been in a fight.
I know. I know.
18-year-old Joel had been in
Hold-
many.
You're polluting his answer.
Oh,
Okay, I was gonna let.
what is your answer? I know what his answer is. His brother would kick my ass.
No. I think because you look so much like a wussy that he would.
Hold on, no.
Oh!
Come here, come on.
And he,
Get on the mic there, Afro.
Because he looks like so much of a wussy, I think Cade would easily, like, just severely underestimate him, and you'd win barely.
Oh,
Barely?
that's a surprise.
But if you don't have the
Like,
sweater
Hold on.
or
Like-
the gay jeans, you're not gonna win.
Whoa.
He went
Not
there.
that
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that
All right,
there's
all right,
anything
all
wrong
right,
with
all
that.
right.
So, what you're saying is Cade would go, look at that heap, fill in the blank in the
Pussy.
pink sweater.
He'd feel bad
and
for me.
Probably walk by and just bitch slap him, thinking
he'd think
he's
he's-
gonna cry.
He'd think it's an easy fight.
Yeah. And then he's going to find out this kid's been around the block. He's got a lot of anger in him. And then Cade's going to kick it in
he's
gear
gonna go
and
down.
and then start whooping his ass.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really know.
And that's the triple B question.
Triple
We're going to
B
do one of those.
Question of the day.
Yep.
You know that it's an interesting question, but when you look at the measurables, you know, when you watch your little fighting shows on TV, what are those called?
the UFC.
the pro wrestling thing. Or no, what is it? The MMA stuff. Yeah.
Pro wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. When they come off the top rope, whatever. When they do their things where they put their
I
age,
think we struck a nerve here.
when they put their age and their height and weight and all that stuff, if you line up 18-year-old Joel and 18-year-old Cade, man,
Are they?
It's pretty equal. I've got about an inch on Cade. 18-year-old Joel and 18-year-old Cade are both about 250 pounds.
All right, can I give my honest answer now
Yeah.
because of my New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
Cade would get wrecked. Cade would get wrecked. You know.
But it's just a lack of experience.
No, it was just a different time.
It's a lack of experience. I mean,
was- yeah,
you know,
it
I
was a
grew up on
different
the
time.
mean streets of you know,
Yeah,
the South Side.
You've gotten
and-
your ass kicked a few times.
well,
That-
you know what?
when you've been beaten up,
Yeah.
it does something to you.
Well, I was
I've
just talking
gotten
about
my
that over the
ass
holidays because I remember, I don't think I talked about this before, but when I was 14, right before I started high school. Now I'd been in numerous fights, and I'd won a few and lost a few. My cousin Eric and I were outside a Southtown swimming pool, and we were ready to go home. We'd been swimming all day. We were 14 years old, and I heard somebody behind me go, "Hey, there's John Schuette's brother." Okay, well, my brother John at the time was 2 years older, and he wasn't really popular. And so I turned around, and the next thing I know, a bunch of guys are beating the shit out of me. First punch was from this guy that I knew named Jimmy. Okay, and the next thing I know, Eric's trying to drag me away, and they beat the shit out of me. A bunch of guys. Okay, so we ran home, and I was crying, and I was bloodied, and all that shit. And I told old Mama Shooty at the time, you know, and Mama Shooty's a single mom, and raising 3 boys. And she said, "What did they say?" And I said, "They said there's John Schuette's brother." And she said, "All right, bud, get in the car. You too, John." She pointed to John. So we drove back to Southtown swimming pool, and old Mama Shooty made John get out and fight these guys. And there was about 3 or 4 of them. And I'm going to drop a name here, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but two of the guys were Breeze Brothers Taekwondo. They were the Breeze Brothers. They had Taekwondo. They were Breeze family guys.
Right.
And I just remember at the time thinking, John's going to get.
Well, bullies are usually tough. That's the thing.
they
Everybody's like,
usually- yeah.
stand up to a bully. They're,
Right.
yeah.
Well, there's more to it. So, John got a punch in on this guy, and then the guy did a spin kick or something right in the throat, and John went down. It was over. He didn't last very long. So, fast forward about 10 years, and John and I are at Southridge Mall, and we see one of the guys, the guy that first punched me, his name was Jimmy. And we're at the mall, and John's like, "Is that Jimmy?" And I'm like, and I'm not going to say his last name. I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, hold on." And so my brother had a way of walking that was just hilarious. His feet are out, and he's just real confident. And he walked up to Jimmy, and he said, "Hey, Jimmy, you remember me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." And he's like, "Yeah." Well, he pointed to me. He goes, "See that big fucker over there?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You remember him?" He goes, "No." He goes, "That's my brother Joel. You beat the shit out of him when he was 14. You and a bunch of other guys outside of Southtown Pool, and I'm mid-20s,
Yeah.
and I'm powerlifting, and I'm big at
Yeah.
that point. I'm not a fat old dude now, And my brother said, "Jimmy,
Joel,
what would it be
you're
like?"
not old.
Well, I'm 50, but and my brother said, "Jimmy, what would you think if my brother walked over here and beat the living shit out of you right now?" And Jimmy's like, "Whoa, hey, no, we don't have to. I don't even remember. What you want me to apologize?" Because Jimmy hadn't grown; he was still about 5'8", and so
You guys should have invited him to a poker party and then brought it up and then asked him if hey, Holmes.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So go take that picture off the screen. I mean, I think people have seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's enough.
Yeah, but
Okay.
anyway, so yeah, and I think there was. Well, I was gonna say back to the fart lighting thing, Dan. Now,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
refuse to believe that you've never lit a fart.
I've never lit a fart.
Have you
ever.
seen people?
I
do
didn't
it?
know it was possible. It just wasn't in my world. I didn't know it was possible till later in life.
Okay, but you do know it is possible.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, my first experience with this was my freshman year in college, and I think I was in the library, and it was early my freshman year, and I had to go at Central College, and I had to go upstairs, and I remember the door to the upstairs to the stairwell was always open, but this time it was closed, and the lights were off, and I thought that was really weird, so I kind of turned and opened the door, and I heard some giggling. And somebody up, I could hear a voice go, "Hey, hold on, guys! Somebody just walked in." And they turned the light on, and it was there was like 5 guys there, and one of them was a guy I knew. And they went, "Oh, it's Shooty. It's okay." They shut the lights. "Come here, Shooty." They shut the lights off, and they were laying. The stairs go up, and then they go up, and they're laying on the landing, and there's a mirror above them, and they were lighting farts and watching them in the mirror above them. And that was
And these were your football player friends?
No, these were wrestlers, Dad. I don't know if that surprises you, but I watched because I didn't know that it was physically possible. I'd heard about it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know. And they were giggling so hard, and I couldn't stop.
I guess I
laughing.
can see how it'd be funny, but I don't know.
And they
man.
were
It's
going
just
all out.
too
They were
weird.
taking the shorts down, the underwear,
Yeah.
and they were holding the feet up above their head and getting had one guy holding the lighter and the other guy. I mean, they were like tag teaming the fart lighting, and it was.
Ugh.
Yeah, does that make you kind of feel
Little bit,
kinky a
man.
little bit? Oh, it was hysterical, but it could definitely happen. But I've never seen a flame that big that lit that cat on fire. Can you imagine how hard it would be to catch that cat?
That's
A cat on fire
I
would be
don't. I
impossible to
hope
catch.
it. For your sake, I hope it's real.
I hope it's
know?
real, and I hope the cat's okay, because I don't want any. I wouldn't want to see a cat get hurt for my humor, for my own pleasure.
Yeah, but that doesn't even make sense. If it happened, you didn't make
I had
it.
nothing to do with it. I shouldn't. What I'm saying is, I feel a little guilty about laughing if I knew that the cat was hurt.
It's fine. It
It's probably
singed
fine.
it up a little.
got 9
bit.
lives.
Probably made that place smell like shit. I feel more worse
cat.
for
Oh.
the parents of that dumbass are gonna come home and it's gonna smell like burnt cat hair and bug hole.
All right, for episode 2 or season 2, episode 3, we're gonna light farts. Are you ready?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Beck says yes. So we'll let our viewers decide. But I think we're at the end of our podcast. But we'll let the viewers decide.
I think no.
We've got a fireplace right over here.
I'm not doing it. I gotta have lines.
It could be like Beavis and Butthead do America, where we could fart into the fireplace. Just kidding. All right, enough of that stuff. Okay.
So what else? That's
think
we're
that's,
getting close here.
I think
Okay,
we
so
covered it.
I mean it though. I went to class New Year's Eve. Was that Wednesday? New Year's Eve? Yeah. And our instructor at the end, he's amazing. He gave us he gives us a 2-3 minute kind of inspirational.
Sure.
And he read this, and it was, I wouldn't do it justice, but it was 2020. Think of it as a book about you and what. And,
Right,
and
365 pages.
yeah, and
Yeah, I've seen
every
that. That was
day,
pretty good.
and I really liked it. And so, yeah, I just hope everybody figures out a way to, deal with what they got to deal with in a positive way. And I think, I remember last time you said another one of your resolutions was to make more connections.
Connect with people
or to-
more often.
Yeah,
Yep.
so,
I agree. So what's today? January 3rd?
no, 4th?
January 4th? On January 11th, so the 11th page of our 2020 book, we're going to write a page about light and farts.
No.
No? Okay. All
Probably
right.
not.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't
ready.
know. Then I'll probably be really hitting the bean burritos hard by then.
Yeah, you gotta
Yes,
prepare. You gotta prepare. So
Maybe.
okay.
I'll set Paco's ass on fire. How about that? You wouldn't get him down here though.
Poor Paco.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. Hey, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Go
All right,
fuck
man.
yourself.
Yeah, go fuck
And
yourself.
I love you.
I love you.